what I understand as far as Atlanteans was they were using sound technology as a weapon, and it backfired on themselves. At least that's the way I heard it. Um, that was one of the big concerns that I've been made aware of, was just that the 1%ers on Earth might do something like that, whether they mean to or not. And that's the big part of raising consciousness and helping people transcend those lower vibing emotions.
Yeah.
That's amazing. We were taught that when you die, it's just nothingness, blackness. And then eventually God would resurrect everyone and judge them, you know, like Armageddon. But they basically believe when you pass away, you're just asleep, like nothingness.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's but those types of programs are going away slowly. They're
They
slowly
are.
falling down. Yeah, and people are finding out, wow. And I get this in my work too, is when people come to me, a lot of spirit come to me when I'm reading for their family. I was surprised and shocked to realize that I'm still me. I'm still alive.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's an interesting, wow.
So let's talk about your peeps behind you here, okay? If you don't mind.
No, I don't mind.
I
I
love.
would say they're Lyran, inspired by Lyran.
Okay.
We've got the cat person.
Yes.
I have heard stories of not only lion-like standing up cats, but like cat-like earth cat looking ones too. Um, I don't know that I would say that I know where they are. There are so many different Lyran descendants, and they went to so many different places. I just was going for more of a Lyran vibe.
I love it. You know, your cat person reminds me of a experience I had, an out of body reality shift experience where um I just end up in this field and it's golden grass and I see these two a pair of animals in the distance, and they are a hybrid between a horse and a lion.
Ooh.
Yeah, the male has a black mane, he's gorgeous, and a black tail, and his body is golden, and they're kind of shorter than a horse because of the lion. And the female lion, the lioness horse, is grazing. They're both grazing, and they're grazing together, and she's next to him, and she doesn't have the mane, but she has a horse tail and a horse-like body, but she's female. But I noticed him the most because he picked up his head and he looked at me. So gorgeous. And I tried to get AI art I tried to get it the way I saw
It's
him, and
hard.
yeah, it was really hard. I haven't gotten it yet, and maybe you can help me with
I
that.
was just going to offer.
Yes, please. And and then I uh, started realizing that I was a lion being, and I'm starting to get emotional about it. And I was the caretaker for these animals, for uh, these beings, and I was there by myself, and I lived in like a little hut kind of thing. Didn't need much, but I took care of them, and I looked down and I saw that I was had the body of a lion standing up like that, like your cat
Yeah.
being, and wearing like a tunic, and was just a hybrid human lion being, and it was
That gives me
my role.
chills. That
Mhm.
is just like, I started seeing like Alpha Centauri
Mm.
because there were Lyran descendants that went there. Um, and I've heard tales about stand-up lion warriors. Like it's a lion, but standing like the cat human and holding a sword. So if they had fled from Lyra and gone to Alpha Centauri, where there was more sensuars, and
Yeah.
then maybe bred with them, because a lot of the different groups bred with local life on the planets that they inhabited rather than changing the ecosystems and things like that. So when you describe that to me, I don't know, it just came in really strong. Like that sounds like Alpha Centauri to me.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense. Definitely. That was crazy. I just remember how beautiful that animal was looking at me, and he recognized me for some reason. So yeah.
Well, recognized you because he knows you.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
thing. So do you have, so part of your work is to help people recover Atlantean memories, is that correct?
Well, the Atlantean alchemy that I'm studying is more about transforming oneself and
Mm.
using tools that were used back then. In the galactic astrology readings, it depends on the soul that I'm reading, what comes up. It could be lives from Lemuria, Atlantis, ancient Egypt. I get a lot during the Jesus era.
Oh,
Um,
I get a lot.
Druids.
Same here. Oh my gosh, yes.
The Jesus era, that's one of the ones that people continuously walk up to me and say, you were with Jesus. And the first person that said that to me, I did not believe, like, oh, sure. Oh, sure. But then people kept saying it over and over, just walking up. I just had another one at a fair walk up to me and say, I just saw one of your past lives. Do you want to know? And I was like, oh, sure, sure you did. And we start talking, and she leans in and says, you were with Jesus. And I just started giggling and said, I know. She wasn't expecting me to already know. But so I do get a lot ancient Mayan era, but definitely the whole era with Jesus and then the Druid era, or, just the Druids.
Hmm.
Or else it could really be any time period that comes through. It's really just what does that soul need to know for their highest good?
Hmm.
I don't want the fluff stories, and I've made that clear to the guides. Like, I'm not here for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
What do they need to know, and how can we connect it to the soul lessons that they're trying to figure out in this life?
Right.
So through looking at my own past lives that have been trickling in, I'm now starting to see different patterns in this life that are affecting me that I can directly correlate to those other lives, and that's helping me heal it.
Right. Yeah,
So
I
that's
love
the
that.
same
Go
that
ahead.
I try to help. I offer that to, my clients when they come to me. That's the goal, is to uncover what kind of lessons are hidden. Why do we keep repeating the same cycle and we can't get out of it?
Hmm.
Usually it traces to a past life, or not even just the past life itself, but past
Right.
life themes that we've had multiple times. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 or 4 different
100
incarnations to master those
or
specific themes.
400. Okay.
Or 400, yes. Some of these lessons are so hard. So hard.
I'm glad you do soul retrieval because that is so important. And that's the first thing, because I work with Yeshua, Jesus, diligently ever since my NDE, remembering him. And that was the first thing he taught me, or brought me through soul, past lives and soul retrieval, integration, integrating our fragmented parts of ourselves. So, yeah, and I made that agreement with him, just like you did with our guidance, that I don't do past life readings for entertainment purposes. It's all about healing, because we
Yeah,
have such little time together. When we're with people, it has to be about healing.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, and what use is telling these entertaining stories? They're going to forget about it 2 weeks from now if it doesn't mean anything to them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Awesome. I love that. So, you your guidance is galactic, correct? You connect
I
galactically.
put everything Starseed, Galactic,
Galactic.
and I told my guides that's my audience. People who are wanting to, there's so many of us that feel different.
Yeah.
and we don't fit in, but we all need that community of each other. So
Right.
I'm
Right.
starting to help facilitate that. And that's just the primary people that I wanted to work with.
What's your thought? I'm so happy to meet another galactic sister here.
Mhm.
So what is your thoughts on disclosure, as we're moving forward? What do you think about that? What's your feelings on that? If they're telling you
I'm
anything, what's your insights?
I'm pretty careful on what I share disclosure wise. I like with clients, I kind of feel them out. Sometimes it doesn't even come up, and other times I end up telling them all kinds of things that I wouldn't normally tell someone. Um, I try to be pretty gentle about it because I don't want people to get too upset. And if they haven't heard any disclosures, what do you mean specifically
I
on?
mean, okay. What I mean is when we as humanity will be in a Star Trek, Star Wars type of not Star Wars, but Star Trek type of civilization. And I realize that it's a
Mm,
slow process, okay? But
it is.
in our lifetime, I see it happening in our lifetime. That's
I do
just me,
too.
okay?
No, I do too.
Okay.
I've been starting to get visions from the guides, and I didn't even know who the guides were, but I was getting visions about opening healing centers all over the United States, 12 specifically. I don't know why that number, that's just what they said. Maybe it was related to the apostles, 12. I don't
Hmm.
know. I see us having more community involvement rather than governmental involvement, more community gardens and education centers, and more services for what's really important, like emotions. If we deny our emotions, they manifest in different organs and we become sick. So if nobody's teaching us how, the somatics of our bodies or how to manage emotions, that would be one of the biggest things we'd have to start with collectively to make a difference is one, managing oneself,
Hmm.
through alchemy and mastering your own emotions and reactions or responses rather than reactions. The rest, I think, will come after that. I think that emotionally and spiritually is the biggest thing that we have to focus on as far as getting to that community center. I don't want to, do I use the word utopian? I don't know. It just, I had envisioned that it would be more inclusive, us being more of a community together rather than such separated individuals. We're all on the internet behind our little screens, people say whatever, but would you really
Hmm.
say that to someone's face? We got to bring the community back together is what I'm feeling. The people who haven't been exposed to disclosures or knowing what's going on, they're the ones that we're going to have to be helping as far as the emotions and accepting the polarities, the light and the dark within ourselves. I think collectively that's going to be one of the biggest challenges
Hmm.
is seeing what humanity has done and what we ourselves, our own mistakes can sometimes eat us alive, but accepting that we all have light and darkness and integrating that's going to be so important and crucial. But I'm seeing communities where there's more involvement together. It takes a village to raise a child, they say.
Yeah.
I would like to see that village come back together and more organic eating. And I don't just mean the term organic, you know, making our own food rather than all these processed things and coming back to more of a community style living.
Right.
If that even answered your question.
No, I love it. And there's a community, I think it's in California, I believe, that is apparently in her, I think her name is Anastasia. Anastasia. There's a book about her in that community where she claims to be a starseed or a off-worlder, right? And she has that connection where she's not an earthling. I
Mhm.
mean, she's on Earth now, but she's started this community, and that's exactly what they are doing there. And I can't remember the name of the book, but it's and she talks about how it is the way, it's the future, and it has to start somewhere, right? So
Yes.
there's a lot more communities, I'm sure, that are popping up, and where we're getting away from the dependence on this.
The
No
technology.
offense. Yeah, technology. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's a tool, which is great.
I love technology,
Same here.
but we can't let ourselves forget our humanity while
Right.
using said technology.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love it. I'm glad we have it, but yeah, it's it can take over our life for sure, because we're, our phone, our computer, our TV, all of it. But I was gonna say something that went right out of my head. Uh, yeah, the community. It's go I'll wait for it to come back around. Okay. So we're basically, what we're doing is, there it is. I knew it'd come back around. Is we're what I've felt, and and you talked about Christ, people that are here that were during the time of Christ. I feel that people have been shown this 20 years ago. I was shown this when I was sitting with my guides, that we have come back from Atlantis as well to rectify that timeline, and to,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, because that's a big one.
It is a really big one. And honestly, we're kind of at a spot where we got to make sure we don't blow ourselves up. You know, I mean, that's the whole three waves, right? Because of
Mm-hmm.
the nuclear bombs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
What I understand as far as Atlanteans was they were using sound technology as a weapon and it backfired on themselves. At least that's the way I heard it. Um, that was one of the big concerns that I've been made aware of, was just that the one percenters on Earth might do something like that, whether they mean to or not. And that's the big part of raising consciousness and helping people transcend those lower vibing emotions, is so that collectively we're all happier, closer to joy and bliss, and less wanting to blow each other up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And right. And then as we lift, we pull the collective with us, I guess you could say, because when you're vibing at a higher frequency, you can't help but affect it can't help but affect those around us and
No,
the
and
energy around us.
that's absolutely true. And what I had been told from monks in India that I trained with many years ago, takes one person, one awakened person, to awaken 100,000 people through the domino effect.
Wow. I love that.
So every time, if you spend time awakening and moving towards enlightenment and getting your vibrations higher, every single person you encounter or walk past is going to be feeling that vibration from you. Think about how big your aura is. You're walking through the grocery store, whether you're even talking to anyone, they're feeling that vibration. And if enough of us work on vibing that high, it just, domino effect, it's just going to take over in a good way, I hope.
Yeah, it makes sense. Totally. When you come in contact with someone that's vibing high, feels good, and maybe get a smile from them or something, then you feel good. You just can't
Yes.
help it. And the opposite is true. And those are the ones that we notice the most, because it's so heavy. Oh gosh, I was just talking to somebody or saw somebody and they were really down, and now I feel down. Okay. Yeah,
Time to go take a shower.
right. I lift my vibe. But yeah, so if that's true, I mean, it's true on both ends of the spectrum
It is.
for sure. Yeah.
That's why it's so important to teach ourselves and our children emotional regulation, or how to even handle your emotions. I think a lot of the illnesses that we're battling on Earth, all the cancers, a lot of them are related to people's emotions. I just
Mhm.
bought a book on it, Metaphysical Anatomy, and it's literally, the whole thing is related to traumas and emotions that were undealt with, unhealed, and then manifesting in different organs. That just, I don't know, blew my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what I was expecting, but I had read Louise Hay's book.
I was just going to mention her book. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And she talks about how she had cancer. I believe it
Right.
was uterine cancer. And she asked her doctors for a 90-day reprieve to try alternative methods. She went and got a psychotherapist and a nutritionist, just those two things. And 90 days later, her cancer was gone, and the doctors couldn't, they didn't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that right there spoke to me so heavily that that's something we have to be talking about, especially for people who are starseeds and light workers, is taking care of their physical bodies so that we can do the work we came to do. But the emotional regulation part, if you've studied Pleiadians, they struggled with that thousands of years ago and were dying because of it. They were manifesting illnesses and dying, and they had to go through this really tough transitionary period to overcome that. And I think that's one of the big important things that we need to be talking about collectively, is how to care for these bodies. If we're going to come down as star seeds to really help out, how to not get stuck in the matrix food, or the, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All the things that distract you from your purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the poisons that we are programmed to put into our bodies does distract us. I mean, food, the air we breathe, the food we eat, the what, the things we drink, even in the water. So yeah, it doesn't mean we need to be afraid of everything.
No,
Yeah,
fear's the
yeah,
enemy, in my
yeah.
opinion. I
Right,
mean,
yeah,
there's some healthy fears, obviously,
totally.
but
Discernment.
the psychological fears, yes, discernment. The psychological fears, that's the illusion and the enemy that keep us trapped.
Yeah, totally. And Christ teaches us that we can transform anything. We are so much more powerful than we have been led to believe, that we've been programmed to believe.
That's so true. I wrote it on the wall. I took an expo marker in my shower and I wrote all kinds of quotes and sayings in there. And one of them is, "You are so powerful." And it's such a reminder too, even when maybe you get upset with someone else, remembering how powerful you are, that if you think thoughts, it's going to be sent to them. You know, I get a lot of clients coming to me for psychic protection and wanting to clear stuff. But you also have to think about what you're sending out too, because sometimes that backfires off somebody else and gets sent back.
Right, because we're mirrors, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little trick that I use, and I learned it from Ho'oponopono,
I
uh,
love her.
is I love you, I love you. Like if I get cut off on the freeway, that's one of the things that triggers a lot of us, right? It triggers me if I get cut off or somebody's driving like crazy. You know what I mean?
I pray for them.
I know. I get to the point. Okay. All right. Well, first of all, the reason I'm feeling so frustrated is because I'm connected to them now, because I gave them my attention. And so we're connected. I'm
Yes.
feeling their whatever was going on with them is going on with them. So I'm not going to go down that road. And I'm just going to say, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And just send that out. And it transforms like that.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
I use that prayer all the time. I accidentally killed a
Ho'oponopono.
spider the other day. Yeah. I accidentally killed a spider and I was really upset about it. It's so little, but I hoponoed it like 4 times.
Yeah. I don't like killing spiders. I don't like killing any
I
insects.
didn't mean to. It just happened and I was just so upset about it.
That sounds like me. That's cool. Yeah. Everyone has the right to live in their own, every creature.
Well, it makes me think of the recent Ant-Man movie, and I didn't watch all the Ant-Man movies, but it shows a concept of beings that are like the size of ants on Earth, and they're having this whole other life in another dimension that we don't see because we're in the 3D. And the concept of that movie probably is what made me so upset about the spider. That was somebody's mother. Sorry.
I'm sure she forgives you.
Thank you.
So we sure have a lot that we can talk about. I'm going to have you back.
I would love that.
Yeah, yeah. And every once in a while I do live broadcasts, galactic types of conversations and starseed, things like that. Would you be
I would
willing
love to
to join
come.
me? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, nice. Nice. Yeah.
yeah, I
Awesome.
would enjoy that. If you ever want me to come do Galactic Meditations or anything like that on something, on an event, been having really powerful experiences doing some Andromedan meditations, and I just came up with a Syrian one to go along with my new Oracle deck.
Oh, yes. Talk about your work. Talk about that, your deck, and anything you have coming up.
So I know that I didn't get these ideas from myself because I would have started with an Arcturian deck. If it was just me, I would have been full blown into the Arcturian deck, but I kept getting very strongly that it was a Syrian deck. Well, that would make sense. My North and South nodes have placements with Sirius A and Lyra Vega. So that would make perfect sense. I started creating images of blue humanoid galactic beings, and they were just so amazing. I just kept going and going and ended up with the full Oracle deck.
Nice.
And I sat there intuitively and just let them tell me what each card was called. Um, Before I got on here, I was actually doing a little bit of channeling and I was asking, all right, so I know that I didn't come up with these ideas. You guys gave them to me. So is it one Syrian guide that's given it to me or several? And I got that there was three, two females and a male. And I only went as far to get the first name and I got Amy and that it was a great great aunt. And I immediately saw a picture of who they were related to in my mind, and it's a great aunt named Amanda. So interesting that that came through, but they've been giving me the information to put into this deck. So on February 14th, we're going to go live and release the digital version.
Mm,
Anybody who wants to join, go to mystarseedfamily.com and there's a link to join the Facebook group. You can see I've been giving free readings from the new deck to kind of test it out. And
yes.
so far, it's just been really, really amazing.
Oh, I bet. Oh, yeah. I would love to be there with you for sure.
Oh,
Congratulations.
it would be so lovely if you would join
Oh,
us.
yeah,
Thank you.
totally.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'll have your information down in the details. But do you have any classes or anything like that, or coming up? Do you, or
There's a lot coming up,
okay.
more than my brain can even tell you right now. I am also working on opening an academy as well, and I have
Mm,
dozens of teachers already that I'm going to
nice.
co-teach with so that I can teach subjects that are beyond my own expertise. So that's coming. There will be lots of classes coming, and you will be able to see them on that website, mystarseedfamily.com. That's where we're going to start putting them up. You'll also see galactic art, different offerings of galactic art that I'm working on. What else am I releasing? I'm also business coaching other vendors, spiritual vendors. So I've been promoting some of them, giving interviews and things like that, um, custom art and graphics and things. I'm like always busy doing tons of things.
I
I
hear
can't
you.
help it. I can't help it.
No,
But
that's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for being here and
thank you for having
doing
me.
the work that, yeah, on the planet, and for doing the work that you're doing. And
It's
you're just
so
basically
important.
starting out. This is wow, you're opening up like crazy in just a
In
couple
the
of years,
galactic
right?
world,
Yeah.
yeah, in the galactic world, I went back into the fair scene in March of last year. So everything that I've accomplished since then, pretty short amount of time,
Hmm.
kind of a fast worker.
Well, things are speeding up, so we don't want to miss the boat.
No, and this is the perfect time. I already have other Oracle decks that are coming in. Like they're already showing me what else they want me to put out. So
Nice, nice,
super
very
exciting.
cool. All right, Tiffany. Well, thank you so much for being here and for talking with me today. It was a huge pleasure to meet you on this plane. I'm sure I know you. I know you. We know each other. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I will be inviting you back.
Thank you. I would love to
Yeah.
come
Yes, I would be honored. Thank you.
too.
And thank you everyone for watching. And we'll see you next time.